Welcome to the first ever podcast. I'm here with my good friend Victor Oddo.
Hey, what's going on, people?
And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna have a conversation today. We're gonna share some ideas with you. We're getting, I'm getting used to doing more of the podcast rather than just like the videos. So it's gonna be a learning thing for me. I'm gonna find out what works, what doesn't work, exactly how to go about it. So yeah, I'm excited to be having a new way that you guys can digest the information and also just share ideas with you guys as well. So first off, I just want to introduce Victor Oddo. Victor Oddo is one of my best friends. He is a YouTuber who has a audience under YouTube. It's just Victor Oddo is his name. And he's been making videos for how long? Like 2-3 years now?
Yeah, a few years. Officially on this channel. I had a prior channel before that wasn't very effective. But...
And you mainly deal with helping people navigate through their spiritual awakening process.
That's exactly what I do now that you mention it. Yes.
Yeah, like I say, expand your awareness. His tagline is He helps people navigate through their spiritual awakening process.
Yeah, that's it.
So what does that mean?
Well, it's funny. I don't know. You know, it's funny because I coach people now to like help them grow their YouTube channel. And they're like, I got to find like how do I know what to say? And for me, I don't know about you, it just kind of came, I just started saying it. I didn't predetermine to do that.
Oh, mine was the same way.
Yeah. And it's like, it's perfect now. What does it mean to help people navigate their awakening? Well, as you know, I had like an unexpected awakening experience that caused me to freak out. And I went to the doctor. I got diagnosed by a psychiatrist, put on medication.
Wow.
I
didn't know that part.
Yeah, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, I confessed. And anyway, there was a lot of unusual challenges that I can now look back and see as part of something very positive. And we're living at a time, as we know, where a lot of people are going through an awakening. Most don't have the guidance, the support, even the acknowledgement of its existence. So I wanted to create something that so basically all my videos are for my my younger self. Like what would have been helpful to me back in those times. So just by sharing my guidance and experience, that's how I help people navigate their awakening.
Their spiritual awakening process. Yeah. When did you go through your awakening? How long ago?
I had what a lot of people call a Kundalini awakening back in like 2008 or 9, a long time ago. I was like 21 or 22.
Wow, yeah.
I was like meditating and trying to open my third eye, like a lot of people do, and I had a crazy ass experience. So
did you intended to open your third eye in your meditation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I was listening to a song with the song title's Third Eye. I was meditating on my third eye, like really pressing hard.
Yep.
And that's when I had the Kundalini eruption, you could say, where I felt like a softball-sized knot of energy making its way up my spine. And then it kind of pooled in my head and then just exploded this white light. And then I started to kind of go into ego death, and I freaked out and had Patty rush me to the hospital. She went straight up.
I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
This is kinda cool.
Yeah. She called my friends, like, Victor's freaking out. I don't know what's going on. And they calmed me down.
Was Patty going through like a spiritual awakening at the time as well?
Not at that time. We had another shared experience a few years after that.
You told me about that.
Yeah, but this was like my first one.
She did not know what you were going through.
No.
And she was like, whoa.
She's like, he says he's dying. I don't know. My friends came and were like, you don't want to go in the hospital, bro. And I was like, okay. And I kind of calmed down.
Did they just think that you like had some trip or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But and then what happened is that same energy kept returning, and I would have the same like really forceful.
Would it return only when you were like meditating?
No, it could be at any random time. There's one time I remember I plucked a guitar. I was trying to learn the guitar, and I plucked a guitar string, and then I started to come to know it was coming. So I'd lay on the floor and just hope I hang God for dear life. Straight up, it would be like, like we always do. But just a lot of energy, man. It's like, what the hell is that? I wondered,
Right.
And then after it's like some frantic research online, I was like, oh my God, it's like it must be this Kundalini awakening. So I bought a bunch of books, and that kind of gave me a little bit of clarity, and like, I was like, okay, it's actually kind of a cool thing.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went through a awakening back in 2012.
Yeah.
It was something where I learned how to meditate because at the time, I think I've told you this story. I probably told it on my YouTube channel as well many times. Used to have ADHD. So it was hard for me to focus. I took Adderall for it. I went to a doctor, prescribed, like, hey, take this Adderall. You have ADHD. So I would take that, and I worked at Nordstrom's at the time. I worked at Nordstrom's and Women's Shoes, and it would help me. Like, it would help me focus while I was there. I'd make more money because I was more focused. And what I realized, though, is there was really harsh side effects of taking Adderall. And the harsh side effects were you couldn't eat very much and you couldn't sleep very much. So I was like, man, there's just some pretty harsh side effects. Because I go home at the end of the day, and I'd be wired. I'd be like, whoa, like just so much, kind of like so much energy. And it's like you don't feel hungry. So I was like, I lost some weight and stuff. When I would take, and if it was a busy sale time, I would take a little bit more than other times and stuff. But there were harsh side effects. So I went online and started doing research, and I found meditation. And it was like, oh, meditation, there's like black and white benefits. Like it's just so, it was hard for me to negate it. I was kind of like, oh, this kind of the spiritual stuff. I'm like, I don't know about it, And then I was like, I'm going to give it a go, though, because what do I have to lose? There's no negative side effects of meditation.
Right.
So I went and I decided to try it. So I sat down, I tried it, and the first day or two wasn't nothing really, really special or anything. But then what happened is I learned how to, I actually felt more resistance probably the first day, because when I went to do it, I was trying to control my thoughts. And when you try to
most people do
thoughts,
that,
it was like I started to feel resistance. I was like, whoa.
I suck.
And it was shortly after I learned a lot more about the law of attraction. So I was like, oh, I don't want to manifest something negative, having these negative thoughts.
Right.
But what I did is I just decided, I was like, okay, the game changer was I read something online about staring at a candle flame. And when you stare at a candle flame, it's like, and it keeps the eyes in one spot, so the eyes aren't wandering as much. Like when your eyes wander around as much, your mind wanders as well.
Yes.
Like, okay, so I did that. So that helped a little bit. And then the game changer was learning how to observe my thoughts rather than react to them. So I just started to observe them, let them be there. And then within a day or two, I started to feel differently almost immediately. I started to feel just more space. I just started to feel different. I don't know how to describe it. And then 2 or 3 days later, I just had this experience where I just kind of like, I don't know if it was a Kundalini experience. It probably wasn't, because it wasn't necessarily an energy going up and down my spine, but I felt a lot more energized. So maybe it was part of that. And from that point going forward, everything in my life changed, because I started to see things in a totally different way. I started in meditation to feel like this connection to a deeper part of my soul. I started to realize that there is so much more to life than we priorly thought there was. Like, there's just so much more out there. Yeah. And by out there, I also mean in here. Like, there's so much more there's so much more awareness from within. Yeah. And from that point going forward in 2012, I started to really study metaphysics, because I became aware of the thoughts I was having. And the thoughts I was having, the beliefs that I had, I knew were creating my reality. I read that somewhere, it just really vibed with me. And I realized I had beliefs about ADHD, beliefs about the way life works. And I started to change those beliefs from the inside out. And from that point, everything in my life changed. So I guess it's kind of similar, but a little bit different.
Because I deal with the awakening a lot, I hear all sorts of different stories, and everyone seems different, but I think it's like we all have some
version,
a period where we just become, like you said, more where we're just drawn to spiritual things. Our perception starts to change, and we become more, more grounded in our, like, who we really are. And so, it's a very similar, I would say, even contrary to the surface level, which people say, oh, his was this and yours was that. I see it as the same sort of initiatory kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. What do you see? What do you see as the biggest blocks for people going through spiritual awakening?
I think it's there's a lot of them, honestly. You probably know that. I think a lot of it is just it's like with more information is a great thing. Now there's so much out there. Like back in the day, for me, there was not hundreds of YouTube channels, but there's almost so many opinions and perspectives that people, they have all these expectations. So just like listening right now, they're like, okay, well, I didn't have a Kundalini awakening. Does that mean I'm not far along, like Vic? There's all these different ideas and conclusions people draw. And I think people go way into their mind instead of just letting it be kind of natural. Like yours unfolded naturally. You were drawn to meditation and started changing. And it can be simple. I think people are complicating it now and causing just, a rougher time than necessary.
I think a lot of times when people even watch like our videos or the information on this, even if you're listening to this right now, I think that at a certain level, people have to already be open to it, which means they're probably going through something similar at some level.
Yes,
because otherwise they wouldn't resonate, or they would see a title like that, or even our channels, and they'd be like, "Oh, that doesn't resonate," if they weren't going through it. So I think it's a pretty safe bet that a lot of people that are even watching our channels, that even consume the content, are already there, or at least in the process of it.
Yes, energetically, vibrationally.
Why do you think it is? Doesn't it seem like there's so many people starting to wake up, starting to realize this spiritual connection.
Yes, there is.
And I've noticed that, like, literally, we were just talking about this a minute ago, because there are these business channels, right? Like these marketer business channels that me and him watch, or, you know, we watch in our own time, but we're like, oh, I know who that person is. And some of these people are just like really mega successful people that, not that, you know, if you're not successful or something like that, like, or successful people aren't into this spiritual type stuff, because I'm not making that correlation, but like these people that you wouldn't necessarily know are into the stuff that we're talking about, in the sense that, like, there was this one guy that's a big business channel. He teaches people how to make money online, and he made a video on why you can't die or something like that, like why death is an illusion. And it's a strictly business channel, so it's such a out of the loop idea to be talking about how we're immortal spiritual beings, and how time doesn't really exist, and how if energy exists, we always exist. So it's kind of out there for his audience.
Yeah.
But that information is coming out. The other guy, what's his name? James Wedmore. He's like a business guy. He's got his podcast. He has like how to make 7 figures in a year. And then the next podcast is like how to connect to the Akashic records. Yes. You know what I mean? And those two ideas, you're like, whoa, like why are those in the same category? But it seems to me like no matter income range, no matter what, but I just noticed there's so many more people waking up, and even people like you wouldn't know, or think are like, oh, you know, because we have these preconceived conditioned notions that like, oh, if you're so successful, then you must not be spiritual at all, when really there's not a correlation. It's more about the abundance and other stuff as well. Have you had a lot of people that you used to know?
Not really. I haven't noticed anything, actually. No. Yeah, you know.
They come to you and be like, oh, I saw your videos years ago. This happened to me a couple of times. I saw your videos years ago. Thought whatever of them, but now I'm going through something and I find your videos valuable or something like that. Yeah,
I'm starting to see my process in many people you wouldn't expect. Yeah, old people I went to high school with, they're reaching out saying, hey man, I'm surprised to see you with this channel, but I'm going through it, man.
Yeah.
I'm also like you, I'm seeing it higher consciousness expressed in all over the world. And one thing I'm a big fan of is mixed martial arts, and there's certain fighters that you can just see there's a great awareness within them.
Yeah.
And it's their style, just the way they talk, it's like higher conscious. MMA fighters now, it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm. No matter the field that you normally like, oh, those two things don't go together.
No, it transcends all of that.
Martial arts does go very well with meditation and presence.
Yeah,
like certain types of martial arts and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be expressed in like, wow, they're going through it because they're into this topic or hobby. It's more just like how they are, just like they're just more aware of a lot of stuff. And both of us talk about the law of attraction, how their thoughts influence reality, and they're cognizant of that and use that to their advantage. A lot of athletes do it now. So it's very hopeful to me. It's exciting, and it's just, I notice personally waves of it because I'm someone who's like puts themselves out there as an awakening guy. So a lot of people who are brand new, like, oh my goodness, I'm a lawyer, and this just 3 days ago I saw your videos and I had this experience. I'll get waves of people like just starting out, like reaching out to me. So there's like waves and waves of awakening just from my own perception. So that's cool. It's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. I've noticed waves.
Yeah, sure.
I had somebody from the gym that I talked to like 2 years ago or like a year and a half ago. And I was talking to him about some stuff, giving him some, like, he wanted some advice for some stuff like 2 years ago. And I haven't seen him in like a year and a half. And he like reached out to me recently on Facebook messaging or something. I haven't seen him in a long time. But he's like, I just wanted to let you know that I'm going through a spiritual awakening right now, and I'm coming to learn all this information.
Yeah.
And, it's really cool. And it was just a really cool experience because I'm like, wow, like, not that I would be judgmental, like, he was never going to wake up or anything. Not like that at all. It was just the people you wouldn't necessarily think necessarily are that close to having that kind of awareness, or not even that kind of awareness, but just you wouldn't expect it. Even my family, even people in my family that used to look at what I do, and they, at a certain level, probably like, oh, it's kind of like, what is he talking about? Like, can't you just do this or do that? Even now, we're like, wow, like, not only because the following has grown and everything, but just in general, it's like, wow, he's really doing what he's passionate about. Not only that, what he's saying at some level, I actually kind of resonate with,
Right.
So
yes,
it's kind of a cool type of synchronicity.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. I mix. Yeah, people in my wife's family. People in my life that if I was to have judged them and said, I would think no freaking way that they would be open to such things. But it's just slowly seeping in to the mass consciousness in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you were in spiritual awakening or personal development in general, what I thought something we would talk about, because I get asked all the time about it, is favorite books. Like, what are some of your top favorite books for either spiritual awakening, personal development, awareness, whatever?
Yeah.
And I thought we could share maybe a couple of our top, like 2, 3, 5, whatever.
Sure. One thing I'll preface with is that I have found that throughout my whole journey, there have been certain like mentor figures and books that were appropriate for the time being. Rather, so where I'm at now, I read different books than I used to, but I would say generally speaking, most influential books. Number one would be The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
That's one of mine too.
That was like after my second like intense experience that we didn't get into. After that, I just happened to start reading that book, and it was just
okay. So side note right now, that second experience, I totally forgot to go back to that.
Oh, we don't have to.
Is it the one with Patty?
Yeah, at the concert. Yeah.
Let's talk about that. So just to preface a little bit. He had his first big spiritual experience with your Kundalini.
Yes.
And that was where the energy was moving up your spine. You thought you were going crazy or something.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? And then after that, then Patty hadn't yet really gone through the kind of thing you were going through. But then how long later was it?
A few years after, I was at a Perfect Circle concert. It was a rock and roll concert. And it was just like I felt that whole day. I felt very sensitive, like super empathic to like energies and stuff. Take that what you will. But during the show, I was just looking out at the stage, and I had the thought come into my head, I am that. And when the word that came into my mind, like it was like my awareness just whoosh, just like freaking exploded. Like just my point of awareness
like
just expanded. And like I felt like one with everything, and I had this massive surge of love energy course through me and out my heart. And Patty, my wife, had the same exact thing, and we thought like, did everyone just have that happen? Because we were talking like, we're like, did this just happen to the whole planet? This crazy thing. And after that, I started reading the Power of Now. Yeah.
Oh wow! So that happened in what year? 2010.
That was like 2011 when that happened.
Okay. So then after that, she also felt something. Patty did.
Yeah, at that point, she was also like on the awakening path and started to like resonate with some of the things I was into.
I will say it's cool to see you and Patty and the way you guys interact because they each kind of play on each other's. They each have certain strong points, and they each like carry each other up with their other points. So
yeah, it's true. So we complement each other nicely. We're very like different, for sure, but complementary. Yes. Yeah,
I can see that because we go to the gym every day, almost.
Right, pretty much.
4 or 5 times a week, we go to the gym together, and we go to the same gym. We both live in Las Vegas, and it's cool to see because they really have like that kind of connection to where it's like she's the more, even though you're on YouTube and everything,
right? Yeah.
And you're in the limelight a lot. She's like the very outgoing extrovert, and she's kind of like always talking and stuff. And,
yes.
And then you're more of like the settle, kind of like the calm guy.
Right.
But at the same time, you do the YouTube stuff, so you have personality there as well. So it's just cool to see how you guys play off of each other.
Yeah.
Personality-wise, and then with everything that you guys do. And then you guys it's cool as well because you guys are both into what you guys... Like, even though she doesn't necessarily make videos like you do, she's aware of it, and she still kind of has that spiritual type vibe with it. So she's not like judging you. Like, I know I've had ex-girlfriends before, not in a judgmental way or anything, but I know that I sometimes felt afraid to talk about this stuff because I'm like, oh, they're gonna think it's weird or something like that. Whereas you are just very open. It's like, I mean, you guys have been together a long time. How long have you guys been together?
Long time. We've been married 10 years coming up here in November, and we were dating a couple years, 2-3 years before that. It's like 13 years total.
Wow.
Yeah, we felt like only 5 days, except that week in Costa Rica, but for a long time we never even spent a whole day apart.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah. We went to Costa Rica to a place called Rhythmia, and when we went there, I remember he was saying, when we finally decided to go, he's like, I haven't been away from the kids or Patty for like
more than a couple days, yeah.
Yeah, more than a couple of days for like years and years. I was like, really? I was like, wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's a long time, So I just wanted to get that experience out because I thought it was cool, and I was like, I mentally was like, oh, I'm gonna go back to that experience, but I totally forgot about it. So let's go back to the book. So The Power of Now. You read The Power of Now.
Yes, and real quick, I'll tell you why I like it. I like it because it's not like I learned a lot of concepts. It's just as he says in the book. the book does a great job of altering your consciousness to help you start to perceive the world the way he does. He's an enlightened person, someone who embodies the truly awakened state, and it's very evident in his words. And it's the book. It has a profound effect on my consciousness. So I'll even go back to it and like read a paragraph. It's almost like I call it meditative reading. In fact, it like
for sure.
puts you in that state. So that's one of them for sure. How about you?
Okay, so Power versus Force, or Power versus Force. We'll get there. But Power of Now, that is a book that also changed. When you read the book, first off, I think was channeled. Like he was in such a receptive mode, and he was so present to the moment that it was like he even says himself, he did not write the book. The book came through him.
Wanted to come through, yeah.
And when you read the book, you literally start to shift yourself to that level of awareness. And even if it's not a permanent change, like I didn't read that and I'm enlightened now, and it's like, you don't need to make YouTube videos or anything. I don't really need anything. I'm just enlightened. I'm going to go sit on a park bench. At the same time, when I read that book, it got me to that present moment feeling. And I realized and was so much more aware of my thoughts and how not to identify with them, how to observe them from that neutral place that I talk about.
Yes.
So for sure, that is a book that changed my consciousness. For a long time, I would go to bed at night and I would read that book as I was going to bed.
Yeah, smart.
And it would. I felt like as I was reading it, I was getting into that energy state. So I felt like it helped me. So that was a book for sure. Let me see what other book. Power versus Force. So I know you recently got that book, I think.
I haven't started. I actually peeked at it, but no, I have the book, though.
So Power versus Force, for you guys that don't know, it's a book by Dr. David Hawkins. He has a whole process it has to do with understanding how to raise your vibration and the different levels of consciousness. So in the videos that I do, you guys may have seen me make videos on using this chart, and there's a chart that shows the lower emotions on the bottom of the scale.
Which chart? I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what chart. You know exactly what chart. This consciousness chart, I forget the name of it exactly. But anyways, if you type in Power versus Force calibration chart, you'll find it on Google. And at the bottom of it, you'll see shame, fear, guilt, and then eventually you move up to higher vibrational emotions. Like even anger is a higher vibrational emotion, because with anger you take your power back, whereas shame, and guilt, you just don't feel like you're even worthy. And then eventually you move up to like a neutrality and willingness. And in neutrality is when you learn how to observe your thoughts. When you learn how to observe your thoughts and the emotions you're having, you start to let go of all the lower emotions and you start to raise your vibration. So up there, then you get up to love, like unconditional love, and enlightenment, which calibrates at about a 5 to 700, and it's a scale of 0 to 1,000. So that for me helped me understand vibration in a whole new level, and it really started the momentum of me talking about it on my channel and having this intention to help people raise their vibrational state of consciousness. So that for me is one of like the most powerful books.
Yeah.
The Dr. David Hawkins, Power versus Force. It's quoted a lot too in a lot of different books as well. So I was like, I just eventually found it. I was like, I got to read this.
Yeah. It seems like it had a similar effect on you as the Power of Now as on me. I could tell that the way you're talking about it is like it helped awareness of vibration and consciousness click for you and helped you sort of like become that in a sense, Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I could feel that, like the shift that it made within you. I kind of feel the same way.
Yeah.
What other book? Is there another main book that kind of pops out?
Yeah, another book that really has helped me it's not really a spiritual book. It's called Mastery by Robert Greene.
Yeah, that's a good book.
You read? Oh, nice.
Oh,
yeah.
Sure.
It really helped me embrace the journey to finding like success as a human being and finding my path and purpose, which can be challenging. And he accounts all these different really influential people, and like Charles Darwin. Who some other ones was like Temple Grandin, Da Vinci, people who
like that. There was what's her name? She's the autistic scientist.
Was it Temple Grandin?
Yes. Yeah, she's an autistic scientist from Arizona, I believe.
With the horses?
Yeah. And she's like a real genius mind, and she's really, really inspirational. There are a whole bunch of people.
But the thing is, like, we hear these names, like, wow, yeah, they did this, they did this, they did
how
this.
they became Mozart,
it talks about how
masters.
Yeah, it talks about their journey and how was there a lot of periods of doubt and adversity, and it was about they just stuck to their passion essentially through time and pressure, and then emerged and expressed these beautiful things that have enriched the world. And it kind of helped me like again embrace and have the courage just to never give up. I've gone back through it a few times just as like motivation, honestly, to like keep going.
Because you see where they ended up. They're legends in their own way.
Yes, and I could relate to them. I could relate
because
to their
he
stories.
Tells the stories. There's so many stories in the book.
Yes.
And it's just like, whoa. Like, I remember, it's funny how what I'm trying to get better at with making videos is like telling more stories. You're really good at telling stories. You tell a lot of stories in your personal experience.
I read my kids' stories every night, so I practice.
There you go. You're like, okay, I'm gonna tomorrow's update. I'm gonna do the same thing. But yeah, that's something I'm trying to get better at. But stories really do have a powerful effect on the mind because you remember it. Like, I remember stories of hearing Mozart talk about how he was growing up and how strict his dad was and all of that stuff. Like, I remember these stories.
And they're relatable. You can, like, identify with parts of that and then, therefore, like merge with their successful story as well in a way.
And identify with it at a certain level. And they're like, oh, if they can do it, I can too. So when you're in a similar challenge, you're like, wait, they also did it similar, and then you're able to kind of
they felt like crap a lot of the time, and they still did it. And
they still did whatever they did.
Right.
That's why I think another powerful thing that people can do is to just simply read more books, because when you read books or you read biographies of people, you solidify in your mind that if they can do it, so can I.
Yes.
It kind of makes it, and a lot of times there's people that have done it with less resources than what we have.
Right.
They've done it with less resources and they've been uber successful. So it's like, if they can do it, then I can too. And it kind of wires in the thought process. And I really believe too that when you, let me know what you think of this, but like when you read a book, you're literally mind melding with that person in a way. You're starting to meld your mind, your thought process. The neurosynaptic connections in your brain are wiring similar to the person you're reading. So find people of books that you like, or find people that wrote books you like, or find people you like, read their books, and align with their thought process if you want a similar result that they have. Yeah,
it reminds me of like when I was at the gym with you that one time, and I told you when I lift weights, I'll visualize myself as Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I can like embody like the Iron Oaks energy, as they call them. But I think that might be similar to what you're saying. You really can like take more of an intangible, their intangible essence you can sort of put in your tool belt as you read their words. Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. I'm trying to think if there's any other books. I mean, of course, there's a whole bunch of other books, but we'll save those.
There's another one that comes to mind that I bet you've read. You've read Man's Search for Meaning?
No, actually.
No?
But
Dude.
I've heard. Well, is that the guy that was in the
Victor
Nazi
Frankl.
camps? And he came out just like he found the positive in everything.
Yeah.
And I've heard everyone quotes that book. I just haven't read it.
It's a perfect example of what we were talking about. How like this guy found peace and happiness and joy and purpose in a Nazi death camp.
Wow.
And it's just highly inspiring. So
okay, cool. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah,
I've literally had.
You have to, man. I'm surprised you didn't read it. I know he read this one, but I'm gonna say it anyway. But yeah, no, it's a good example of that, like how powerful and like motivating it can be. A book.
Okay, so that's
three for me. So you can name one or two for you know.
Okay, obviously, Reality Transurfing.
Yes. Okay,
Reality Transurfing is a book that was written by a quantum physicist named Vadim Zeland in Russia. It's now being translated to a whole bunch of different languages. It's more so than a manifestation process with using quantum physics. It's more so a philosophy, a way for seeing the world, and it transformed the way that I saw the whole process. And I've been sharing, making YouTube videos on the LOA process for a long time, and it totally was a paradigm shift for me.
Yeah.
So it has to do with understanding social conditioning. We think we're having our own thoughts. Many times we're having the thoughts of these social conditioning. So when we learn how to be aware of it, we start to transcend it. It has to do with understanding this idea of importance. Anytime we make something more important than it has to be, we immediately separate ourselves from it, and then from that, it's like we create resistance and we can't actually resonate with it. So lessen the degree of importance for things, and you resonate with it more. Setting intentions, understanding really just how there's an infinite number of parallel realities that exist, and you can start to shift to the ones that you want by directing your energy in a powerful way. So as weird as some of this parallel reality stuff sounds, it's stuff that science is beginning to show and has been showing. So to me, Reality Transurfing is one of my favorite all-time books. I read it every night before I go to bed. There's five books, and they're kind of dry, but that's why I made the Reality Transurfing Academy, which that's what I teach. Is I teach all of that kind of stuff. And I know you read Reality Transurfing.
I didn't finish it, but it's powerful. It's like you said, it's almost like when you start to apply some of the ideas, and it makes a profound difference. A lot of them are just from you. You pointed things out. Oh, you probably should do this or try this, and it's like, damn, wow, that's like. It resonated.
I kind of remember having that conversation with you at the gym about something. I don't even remember.
And there was one time in Sedona when we were up there at top of Bell Rock. You're like, you like said something about like breaking the identification with like the old self and how you can just do that in the moment. And I was like, whoa. It's like a profound revelation for me.
Yeah.
But no, it's
yeah.
I
We
feel
go to
like,
Bell. Side note for a second.
Go ahead,
Sedona is like my favorite place to go in general. And I remember when we were in Sedona, we went to the top of Bell Rock.
Yes.
And we were up there and we had just this really high vibe conversation. It was just like such a good feeling. It was almost trippy. It was such a high vibe.
Like our higher selves were conversing. It felt like,
exactly. That's what it felt like. And it's funny though because people, when you go to Sedona, you I sound like Lucas or something. I don't know if he talks like that. But I felt like when we went there to the top, there's these things in Sedona called vortexes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like certain vibes at certain places. And we went to Bell Rock, which is like my favorite place in Sedona to go. We climbed up. And yeah, it was just like this high vibe conversation. And I remember we were talking about the present moment, how time is an illusion, and how every time we remember something, we connect to our past, thinking that our past is always what we remember in our mind. But every time we take the memory out of our memory bank and we look at it, we change it before we put it back in our memory bank. So the past that we think is normally so set is actually much more flexible. So I think what we were talking about is something that happened in your past. We're like, oh, just let go of that identification. As you change in the present moment, your past changes too. And I remember, I think that's what we were talking about.
It's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to have an impact on you. Mm-hmm. It just, you can choose. It's just more about the degree of identification with it. And that can be broken with the awareness of what you just said. That's kind of that was my take that day. But
we actually, are you excited about?
Yeah, we're going to Sedona in a few days, like a week or so, right?
Like a couple days,
Yeah, I'm stoked,
Monday
man.
Or Tuesday. I'm excited, yeah. We're going to a different hotel this time. Do some hiking, a couple good restaurants and stuff. Yeah, we'll enjoy it. So we talked about some of the books. That we like. We'll talk more, we could go on all day about books for sure. Books are easy to talk about, and I'm trying to share books that necessarily, just some ideas from the books that we haven't shared before. So that's why we talked about those too. Yeah. Even though we've shared some of them, but so other than that, how about teachers, powerful mentors or teachers that you've had? I know there's one that we both have. When we first met, I remember I emailed you. Or something like that. This is when we were on YouTube, and I knew his channel and stuff, and as my channel just started to grow, so I'm like, oh, maybe if I reach out to him, he'll respond to me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I reached out to him and said, hey, if you ever want to talk about like business stuff or collab or something, I'm open to it. Let me know what you think. And then you responded or whatever. Mm-hmm. And what happened? And then
we talked on the phone.
Yep. And then what we realized is because we have like a similar energy. Yes. And some of our teachings, the things that we teach are kind of similar. And there's one teacher, Bashar. Yes. That we both got a lot of value from. Now, Bashar is a more esoteric type information. It's kind of like Abraham Hicks, kind of like how it's channeled in a way from a guy named Daryl Anka. And Bashar's information, I mean, it's a lot of having to do with us understanding that we are multidimensional, that we create our own reality, that our beliefs create our own reality. I'm trying to think of some of the most common Bashar teaching fundamental
I would say
principles.
the one,
follow your passion, of course.
Yeah, follow your highest excitement until you can take it no further with no expectation. That's been like my...
As far as you can take it, exactly.
That's how I literally live my life, and it's proven itself.
So it's like a vibrational feeling. Do what you're passionate about.
Yeah, but that's a very profound, powerful... teachers had a powerful influence on me because just like kind of like the reality transferring for you, the principles he shared, I just attempted to apply in my life, and it worked. Like his whole thing is like you follow your excitement, and your excitement is just like that natural joy and passion you have, and it's like your body's physical translation to more of your what's true for you, your higher self.
You really are.
Yeah, and as you go in those directions, you become and you claim and become more of yourself. Yeah. Sometimes there's lessons along the way. That's why it says have no expectation. But that's basically what I've done, straight up. And,
me too. Yeah.
In short, you too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my. I mean, that's one of that. Is there any other teachers you want to mention?
Yeah, sort of like with the whole book thing, I find that there's different sort of mentor figures that resonate with me at certain times. In the beginning, for a while, a lot of esoteric ones. And even like in the spiritual teachers like Eckhart Tolle and Adyashanti, they're good like enlightened masters that sort of just help you get in that frame of mind. Bashar, of course. Now I find myself listening to people who are like really good fathers or successful in business and sort of really like it's like Tony Robbins, like people like that. I find myself that's relevant to where I'm at right now.
Exactly.
You know? So I find it always shifts. How about you? Do you have any like people that come to mind?
I mean, the book. There's also a book called The Nature of Personal Reality, by Jane Roberts. There's the big correlation between Bashar's information and Jane Roberts. So that's a book. I mean, I know it's not necessarily a teacher necessarily. Tony Robbins is a big inspiration to me. Mm-hmm. I want to eventually be a speaker similar to Tony Robbins, like what he does in stadiums and stuff, and how he has such a powerful presence and how he influences people. One day I'd like to, maybe however long it takes, but I'd like to, he's like I want to kind of model his success in a way and have a similar type path where I go from YouTube, and I always do YouTube videos, but eventually do in-person events. So he's always been a big mentor of mine. Let me think. Yeah, Eckhart Tolle for sure is a big one. I'd say those are. I
had like other YouTubers. Like I used to watch a lot of Elliot Hulse and like
Elliot
YouTube
Hulse,
people. Yep. So I've gotten a lot of value. That's why one of the reasons I was so passionate about getting on YouTube, because I know like even among all the books I read, there were certain just real people on YouTube
that you could relate to
and connect to their path. So I've gotten like a lot of people probably watch us get a lot of inspiration out of YouTube. Mm-hmm. Not so much anymore, but for a time that was like my, those are my teachers.
Yeah, Abraham Hicks,
I like. Yeah,
mm-hmm. Abraham Hicks. I go through periods like Abraham Hicks for a while, and then like it'll, the flavor, you know what I mean, flavor of the month type thing. It's like okay, that works for me now. I'd say those are probably. I feel like there's one or two more that I really should mention, but I can't think of what it is. But it'll come to me later or something like that. So, yeah, those are some of the most. Biggest influences in my life. Let me see. So what else should we talk about?
Did you have some questions from some of your viewers last second?
Good point. It's actually on the phone. So one of them.
I think I remember a couple of them. Don't you?
Yeah. So one of the questions was attracting a relationship or a soulmate. That's something that you have done. That's something.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
10, 15
years
ago.
So like how would I?
Yeah, so what tips do you have for somebody that maybe wants to attract a relationship or wants to meet their soulmate or whatever, terminology they want to use, if it's a soulmate or relationship or
I always say that it has a lot to do with you becoming a match for that which you want. Like a lot of people they're feeling broken and just out of a bad relationship and they're sad and they're depressed and then they like want a relationship, and really the best way to do it is like you always talk about, raise your frequency, become the version of yourself that is a match. So practically, how does that look? Well, what I did is for a long time, well, not a long time, but many years ago, before I met my wife Patty, I was a heroin addict. I had like a lot of problems, a lot of darkness, and I met her maybe a couple years after getting clean. But during those 2 years, I was in like a super accelerated period of self-development. I got myself in great shape. I was like meditating and reading a lot, just doing like all things that had to do with me becoming like a stronger, better version of myself. And then I like changed myself so much that I believe that highly influenced the readiness of my soul, you could say, for a soulmate. I also think there's also an element of courage and pressing outside of your comfort zone. I think just being sort of logical is helpful. Like, all right, it's comfortable to watch a YouTube video about manifestation and make a vision board, and that's great. It has its place, but also what helps is to go out there and get comfortable asking people out and doing those things that like they're just normal life things, but maybe like sometimes it's just as simple as like, okay, where do you think your soulmate would be? Like, what are you into? Start going to yoga or going to these reading clubs, whatever it is. And then
when you saw Patty, did you know?
She knew. For her, she said like when she saw me, it was like I was the only one. Yeah, but it wasn't like that. Honestly, when I first saw her, I'm like, wow, this chick's like hot. That's what I said in my mind, and I didn't expect I would have a chance. But as I went out there and was like talking to her, I could tell that she was like into me. I could tell like, wow, she's kind of like digging me. So like the next time I saw
Ryan
her,
Reynolds looking guy. We were at the gym yesterday. And this girl comes over. She's like, hey, what would she say? She's like, I just want you to know that I totally thought you were Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. I was like, whoa, I saw Ryan Reynolds at the gym, but then I realized it wasn't you.
Right. I get that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know anything about the guy, but I always hear
it's a compliment. You should be happy.
I'll take it. Yeah. But so the second time I just like, I was nervous, and I just asked her out, like, hey, you want to get some coffee or something?
And what'd she say?
She said, yeah, let me go get all my friends. I was like, oh, damn it. All right, whatever.
She said go get her friends?
She had to go get all of her little AA buddies, yeah. She had a boyfriend at the time, so... And then lo and behold, the way it worked out.
So you guys show up and there's just like all these people that walk in. You're like, oh.
Yeah, I wanted this to be us, but she's like, okay, I'll say get my friends to come.
Maybe she felt like because she had a boyfriend at the time.
That's what it was. Do it. Okay. You know what happened?
Otherwise, she'd been like, oh, okay, what happened?
Yeah, we all rolled up there, and there's probably 3 tables worth of people, 12, 18 people, and we and her were the last 2 in, and there's no room, so we had to have our own little table. So it's just us, and we hit it off. And
divine timing.
And then what I did is I made up some excuse to take her home because I knew her buddy was going to take her home, and I was like, "Do you need a ride?" She's like, "Nope, so and so's coming." And I'm like, "Well, don't you live that way? I'm actually going that way towards your house." So which was a lie. So I made up an excuse to take her out again, outside of my comfort zone.
Right.
So it's like I attracted the soulmate, but I also seized the day. And I took her home, and we had all these this connection, this synchron. My song "November Rain" by Guns N' Roses came on, which to me is something significant's happening, Vic.
Wow! So all these synchronicities, you're like, "Whoa, this is meant to be."
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to someone that's like, okay, I don't. Would their advice pretty much be to go put yourself in situations where that person would be, and then to push yourself out of the comfort zone of not taking action or saying something or letting them know that they like you?
I would say, generally speaking, if I just give quick advice, it'd say put out that intention. Don't give it too much of an obsessive importance, which many can do. I need someone. You're going to attract a situation that says you don't need someone.
Yeah.
At the same time, work on yourself. Become an awesome, what are your weaknesses, your shortcomings? Work on them, fix them, overcome them. I was an addict. I had a lot of bad habits, and I just, really become an awesome version of yourself. Have that intention without the need. And then practically you can go in situations where you have a higher likelihood of running into someone like that.
Well said.
That'd be yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well said. I think that'll help a lot of people. I'd say one of the questions I get asked the most on my channel through Instagram DMs or something is how do I attract a person or something to do with relationships, and that's something I'll share the theory on, but I don't go too deep into because I'm currently single. But let me say, my intention is to be single. Like
it
right
is.
now.
He's got girls left and right always hitting him up. He's not interested.
I'm at a point right now where I'm just. Eventually it'll happen. I'm not closing myself. I've talked about this with Victor before. I'm not closing myself out of a relationship. It's not a possibility. But I'm so focused on what I'm doing that if it happens, it happens. But more so, I'm just doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not that kind of person that's going to teach it all the time, though, because it's not something that I guess I'm as passionate about as more of the fundamental principles of philosophy of how to create what you want in your life. So they'll apply towards that, but that's not my intention right now. And I know a lot of people like to see somebody that's actually doing it. So someone like you, it's inspiring because it's he did it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So let's see what else. There was a question about also how to remain grounded. Let's talk about being grounded for a minute.
That's a good one. Grounded around negative people, was it?
That was
just
the question.
In general?
Well, let's do it in general first.
Okay.
What do you do to stay grounded?
A lot of stuff, because I know I have the ability to be very ungrounded. So how do I stay grounded? I meditate every day.
Let's talk about what we do to stay grounded, but also some of our daily habits and routines as well.
Okay, which kind of go together in a sense.
Which kind of go together, exactly.
For me, I meditate every morning and most evenings.
How long do you meditate?
15 to 20 minutes in the morning.
And what do you do when you're meditating? What are you thinking of?
I do a mantra meditation. I have these like Buddha sort of beads. I count beads rather than have a timer.
Do you do 108? Is it I know?
No, it's a long necklace and there's 3 different increments. So I know from one increment to the next is about 10 minutes. So I'll do 1.5 or so.
Okay.
So I just count. I say in my mind, I inhale and go so. Then hum as I exhale.
I've heard of that.
Hum. Yeah, it's a real popular mantra. And I'll do that for a while to get into a certain state. That puts me into a state. And then usually from there, I'll either sit in that stillness and just really let go of the mantra, let go of the beads. Mm-hmm. Or I'll visualize my day. I'll set intentions. I'll pray sometimes, ask for assistance for certain things. So from that deeper state, I'll do various things. But I access that state every morning regardless.
Okay. And what do you do after that? Is there
after that,
habits after that?
Yeah, I wake up. I'll drink a very small, pre-measured out, little teeny bit of espresso. I try to limit my caffeine.
15 calories.
Yeah, it makes me
8 calories.
Yeah.
So you count your macros, right?
I do count my macros. I don't count the espressos like nothing, so that doesn't count.
Right. Yeah, but that's something I'm getting used to. I'm getting used to right now because I have a certain physique like that I want to have, and I lost a lot of. I was really lean when you moved to Vegas. Like, what is it? How long have you been here now? 6 months?
6-8 months, something like that.
Yeah, and since then. I'm not as lean as I used to be, but he's always telling me this. He used to be a trainer, so he's always telling me, count the macros, but I'm kind of lazy. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to figure out how I'm going to, go into the Fitness Pal app or something and figure it out.
It's fun. It's so effective, but it was always, as a trainer, hard to get people to do. Most people wouldn't do it.
But if you do it,
who did, it was
results.
like you have control. You learn your numbers, and then it's like, it becomes like, you can systematically, with predictability, decide how you want to look.
What gets measured
as far as like your weight and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you. Okay. So that
I do
was
that.
kind of a side.
Yeah, I do
well.
that, but it's so easy for me. It only takes a
that.
second for me because once you do it.
And you eat consistent meals, it gets easier. You said.
Yeah, I just have all these different menus and meals I've made over the years that I took a little bit of time to make sure they fit my goals.
Right.
And now I can do it on the fly, knowing
really
with pretty good accuracy where I'm at, calorically speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what else? Anything else you do?
So I do that. Wake up, I meditate. I have the 5-minute journal. I don't know if I think that was I just saw that and got it. Yeah, you have it. So the 5-minute journal, it's like it takes a few. You write down a few things you're grateful for, a few goals for the day, and then some affirmations. So I think that's important to really set intentions. And also, I find that being grateful is like probably the best thing I've ever focused on for manifestation. Is become grateful for whatever I have. Then you're in that state of being. Of appreciation,
of allowing.
Yeah.
So
that's like how I do my morning, and then I do what I call my magic time, which is where after that is when I'm the most creative and energized. So I do my most important undisturbed work for about 3 hours.
And when is that? That's how long into your day?
Pretty early into the day, within like not even a whole hour waking up.
That's like the same for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my morning routine is I wake up every day. First thing I do is I get over, I go meditate. Like my meditation station is what I call it. It's like right next to my bed. I literally get out of bed and I meditate for 15 minutes. And when I meditate, I'm mainly just observing my thoughts, getting the energy inside of my heart center, and just focused on that feeling and being present to the moment. And then what I do is after about 10, 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, I then go and I take a cold shower. So I turn my shower on as cold as it goes. I jump in for about a minute and a half, not that long, but it'll shock you. You're woken up afterwards.
Right.
And then what I do is I go straight over. I have my camera set up. Everything's ready to go. I film a video. And then from there, I edit. I get all my work done. And after that, we go to the gym normally. I drink alkaline water. That's something that we were just talking about because I got the machine.
Some really good alkaline water, I might add.
Yeah, we were testing it and stuff. So that's. I'm trying to think of it.
We have an evening routine too. Both of us share sort of a similar evening routine.
Yeah, want to talk about what your evening routine is?
Yeah, I will write down my to-do list for the next day.
Yeah.
Because specifically in the evening, because it has time to marinate in my subconsciousness. So I assume, and I find that it's way. It goes very nice. A lot of really successful people do that. In fact, I think it was Thomas Edison or something who said, "Never go to bed without giving your subconscious mind a command."
Yep.
A lot of people have discovered
Napoleon
the power
Hill,
of that.
Think and Grow Rich says something very similar.
So, and then I rewrite in my journal. The 5-minute journal is something to do in the evening as well. Kind of like evaluate how the day was. But yeah, then I meditate and go to bed.
Yeah, I do.
You do something similar, right?
I do something similar. I write down the top 3 things I'm going to do the next day.
Yeah.
I write down 10 ideas from the day, just 10 ideas in general of creative ideas. I get to outside of my own box, and I think of things. It's a very creative thing, and I do that. I have the exact video topic I'm going to be talking about the next morning. Makes it easy because I'm so far ahead on videos, so that's how I do it. I do a video a day every day, no matter what. That's the only way I'd really be able to do it. I've given this advice also to a lot of other YouTubers and stuff, and almost everyone that does it says that it works really well. So if you guys want to be productive in the morning, best thing to do is set the intention the night before, have it kind of laid out so that when you wake up, you know exactly what you're going to do. Do it first thing in the morning. I think that'll make things so much easier.
Yeah.
So also with being grounded, because now I work from home, I work on the computer all day. Sometimes I feel like I get a little bit more scattered if I'm always on the computer. Yeah. So what I will do is I live in this new community in Las Vegas. It's a cool community that has like these parks close by. And there's like parks. There's like 2-3 parks within like a 2-minute walk of my house, and they've got the grass. They got basketball courts. They got all this cool stuff.
Awesome, yeah.
And I go to the grass every night, and I walk barefoot in the grass. And it's funny because we have turf in the backyard, but it's like the fake grass, So
Sure.
don't really count, So I always go and walk barefoot in the grass, kind of lay in front of the stars or under the stars, and kind of space out a little bit, so that it gets me more to a present state.
Yes.
Versus always being inside on concrete or in front of a technology and stuff. So I find that to be very helpful as well. It helps balance my energy. Helps me. I also use a grounding mat. There's a grounding mat right there that I use. That also helps ground my energy. Scientifically shows like the charge of the body and how it lowers the charge of the body from being too positively charged. Positively charged is actually not good. I know it sounds counterintuitive.
Right.
So it's like it keeps the body more natural. So yeah, that's something else I do. I walk in grass.
Yeah. I had all these things I was gonna say. There's one thing I want to kind of preface with, and that I believe that meditation for me is like the foundation. It gives me an accessible state of groundedness that I can remember what it feels like. So I do these other things like similar to you that helps me get into like my center basically.
Yeah.
But I think my center is more obvious to detect because of the daily practice. But no, in short, I have. In fact, was it you who recommended the acupressure mat?
Yes.
I do the acupressure mat. I do that after all my client calls and stuff. Yeah, that's just like it's like acupuncture, but it's not as invasive.
I know you.
Oh, you got it right there.
The podcast right now, so you can't see this. Put it on the.
Yeah, it's exactly what I have.
Acupressure mat. You lay on it. It's going to be in the video that's on YouTube in case you guys are interested.
Yeah, it helps. It seems to my subjective take to like redistribute all my energy. My subtle energy kind of goes where it needs to go really
rather
quickly.
Than being blocked up in the body or kind of stagnant from being sitting around so much and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I take showers now, per my wife's advice, I take I think it's sea salt and sort of like rub it over my head and chakras. It's something like normally it's not stuff I do, but it really helps to clear my energy.
Yep. I've been doing that for years.
Yeah,
I go to Sprouts. I got like a huge thing of Himalayan salt, and I use it as scrub, as like the scrub.
Right.
People buy scrub with like lavender and stuff in it. This is just like the same thing, but it's very natural minerals and stuff.
It's great, yeah.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I exercise and get into my body. Me and him go to the gym. That's helpful. But I'll do like foam rolling, which is like giving yourself a massage. Yeah, you have one of those too. And stretching. I do a lot of yoga. So I usually try to get back into my body and out of my head. A lot of people, they're on the computer. They're learning these sort of like metaphysical, abstract concepts, which is all good, but then it's like
ground it?
You need to be able to integrate it and to become a balanced human being, not too out in the clouds, which I've been big time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it takes work though. It takes effort for me to stay grounded.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially because of what we do. So it's like, it's like even more so because we're not outside or whatever it is, So yeah. Let's in closing. I think we're close to an hour now.
Yeah, that was cool, man.
About 50 minutes. Yeah, it went by really fast. So we'll have to do it again. You'll have to come back on sometime.
Sure, yeah. I come by most Fridays, so yeah.
Yeah, so we'll figure it out, what else? First off, where can people find you?
Best way is just my YouTube channel. Type in Victor Oddo. Victor and then ODDO. If you type that in, you'll see my recent videos and my channel pretty easily. That's my channel name.
And he will help you navigate through the spiritual awakening process.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I'll figure out later on how we're supposed to end these, but that's kind of I guess that's the main gist, right? So first off, I just want to thank you guys for sharing you guys' energy with us today. Had a lot of fun. We're going to be doing more of these, or I'll for sure be doing a lot more of these as well. Victor will be on every now and then. And I just want to thank you, Victor, for coming on.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for sharing your energy with everyone. And I love your channel and everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
So I know I see you every day. And we work out every day. But I just wanted to say that publicly on a video as well. So
cool. Thanks.
Other than that, as always, hope you guys enjoyed this. Peace, much love, and namaste.
Namaste.